What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So please excuse the fresh look. I'm about to go eat Mexican food with my family. I'm pretty excited about that. But listen, that's not what this video is about. This video is about Joe Rogan glazing Jon Jones. I did a video the other day about him glazing Hamza. Now we have a video of him just absolutely glazing Jon Jones up and down. I cannot tell where Joe Rogan ends and Jon Jones begins. I mean, between Rogan and Dana, they both have their heads so far up Jon Jones' bungus that I think they know what he had for breakfast. I mean that 1,000%. Okay? Now listen, I like Joe Rogan. I like Dana White. I have respect for Jon Jones, despite the fact that he's had all of the failed PED tests and things like that. A lot of people hate on him for that. Now listen, I don't encourage or condone cheating, obviously. Okay? But I'm one of those people that tends to think, okay, he had several failed PED tests, but that does not affect his ability to think. He might recover faster. It might make him a little faster. Might make him a little stronger. All of those things, but it can't make you smarter. What this video is about is I saw an article where Joe Rogan is revealing what is rumored that Jon Jones is asking for the Tom Aspinall fight. Okay. And I saw the article and then I was like, it said it was off his podcast. So let's just look it up and see where Joe Rogan said that. So I'm going to show you that right now.
It's going to be Aspinall. I think they're trying to come to some sort of an agreement. The rumor is that he wants $30 million and that the UFC is going to pay it.
Since this is the last time we'll speak to you probably for the remaining of the year, Jones versus Aspinall, is that sort of the big priority, and you think that's the biggest fight the promotion can put on in 2025?
100%. And I think it's probably the biggest fight in heavyweight history, and it's a massive fight in the history of the company too.
All right, so you heard it there. Rumored that he's asking for $30 million. Now, there's a couple of things we need to look at here. Now, you're always going to have the problem right out of the gate, at least in the court of public opinion, where people are saying, yeah, but he cheated. He's a cheater. In a lot of people's minds, his PED use literally negates everything he's done in the sport. Okay? I'm not really that guy. I kind of straddle the fence a little bit there. I don't condone cheating, and I think you have to make some concessions in considering him the greatest of all time because he has the multiple failed PED test and whatnot. But at the same time, I don't feel like you can take away every ounce of credit of all of the work that he has put into his career. We're going to look at the top 3 highest payouts for fighters in UFC history. Jon Jones is part of the top 3. Number 1, believe it or not, is not Conor McGregor. Number 1 is Brock Lesnar, which just goes to show you there, the pay is not based on how freaking good you are. Pay is based on how many of these you can bring to the fight, because obviously Brock Lesnar wasn't worth a shit when he got paid $8 million. I mean, he was okay. He was okay, but he's no Jon Jones level, obviously, right? Second, you got Conor, which I was thinking he would have been number 1. He wasn't. Conor at $6.8 million, okay? Coming in at number 3 is Jon Jones at $6.2 million. Okay, that's his highest payday with the UFC. Now, let's break this down and talk about whether Jon Jones deserves $30 million. Because I think his ass is getting greedy at this point. That's what I think. I think $30 million is asinine for any of those guys. Now, listen, I will give him credit for the fact that if Brock Lesnar can come in and make $8 million when he's barely even fought in the UFC, then, I can see where Jon Jones would say, look how much more I've done for the sport and in the sport than has Brock Lesnar. I should at least be able to get 10, 15 million. If he was screaming 10, 15 million tops, I'd be okay with that. Because listen, Dana has come right out and said, yeah, that's 100% happening. That's the biggest fight. That's the biggest fight in heavyweight of all time. That's the fight that we are going to make. He pretty much promised it. Okay? So Dana's not the kind of guy that, you know, goes back on his promises in front of the world. All right? So they're trying to make that fight happen. 1,000% they're trying to make that fight happen. The question is, if it is true that Jon Jones is asking for 30 million, listen, if he's asking for 10, 15 million, just I mean, you're going to have the naysayers. Oh, no, PED's a cheat. He didn't deserve anything. You're going to have those people. Those people are always going to be there. Me personally, I think that's kind of silly to think that way. Yeah, he cheated. He cheated. Okay, we can all agree with that. We can all concede to that. But does that really take away everything good that he has done in the sport? What about the times that he didn't test positive? The piss didn't burn the hole in the bottom of the cup. What about the times that he didn't get popped for PEDs? You can't take away the guy's whole career because of several failed PED tests. Okay, now $30 million would be 5 times the amount that he has ever made before. Okay, and I think that's just silly. And the reason I say that is because he held it down at light heavy for a little while. I get that. This is a good segue to go back to what Joe Rogan said. Okay? What did he say? I don't know what you're talking about. What did he say? Well, here's what he said. Take a listen.
Tom Aspinall is significantly faster than every other heavyweight. That's a real problem. But Jon has been used to fighting guys like Alexander Gustafsson, guys who are really fast at light heavyweight. So the speed is not going to be as much of an adjustment. Like, Jon's used to really fast people. He fought Lyoto Machida when Machida was in his prime.
Right.
Machida was a lightning bolt, man. And he caught Jon a bunch of times. But then there's the thing of getting caught by Lyoto Machida is not like getting caught by 255-pound Tom Aspinall.
It's pretty crazy being at the top of the sport for like 2 eras.
Joe Rogan's a very smart guy, obviously, and he knows the sport really, really well. As long as he's been around it, analyzing it, as long as he's been a commentator for the UFC, he's a jiu-jitsu guy and a taekwondo guy himself. Obviously, I respect Joe Rogan and his opinions, but sometimes I just wonder, like, take off the tinfoil hat, bro. I mean, you're getting too many crazy mixed signals from different people because you're just talking out of your ass now. Because he says, but the speed of Tom Aspinall, that's not a problem with Jon Jones. Jon Jones is used to fighting people like Alexander Gustafsson, people like Lyoto Machida in the light heavyweight division. So he's used to the speed. Joe, love you, bro, but do you realize what you're saying there? Because what you're saying is the light heavy guys tend to be quicker than the heavyweights because they don't have as much weight to carry around. Less weight tends to move quicker than heavier weight. Okay? We agree with that. So by your own theology, you have to also say that, yeah, but Jon Jones himself is not as fast as he was when he was fighting against Lyoto Machida, Alexander Gustafsson. Okay? So he himself is not as fast. So you can't say, I agree, Tom Aspinall, is fast. He moves like a guy that's 80 pounds lighter than what he is, but that's not going to be a problem for Jon because Jon's used to fighting people like Lyoto Machida and, and Alexander Gustafsson and all these guys. Yeah. But Jon was weighing in at 205 himself. He himself was 30 pounds, 40 pounds lighter when he was fighting those guys. So he himself was faster. I don't know, man. Sometimes, Joe, I'm just like, for such a smart guy, you really do make some dumb comments. I don't mean to sound negative. I'm actually not a negative guy at all. I'm very, positive forward thinker, like build people up sort of thing. And I am building them up. Joe's the man. But Joe, God, sometimes, bro, you just don't think about what you're saying. Point being, does Jon Jones deserve $30 million? For one thing, I want you to tell me in the comments whether you think he deserves the $30 million, because that is 5 times, okay? 5 times what his highest payout is up until this point. That is getting freaking greedy. Now listen, when you make the comparison with Conor McGregor made 6.8 million. Listen, that was based on his name. That was based on his boisterous, outlandish personality, quick wit, his ability to be able to really sell a fight. Conor McGregor was one of those people that he was never really as good as his mouth said he was. He gets the featherweight belt from Aldo, and then he turns around, doesn't even defend that belt not one time before he goes up, fights Nate Diaz at 170 2 times in a row. He goes up, takes Eddie Alvarez's belt from him, doesn't even defend that one time. And then he goes and he boxes Floyd Mayweather. So, I get where John's coming from. Conor's making 6.8. Jon has a great argument for the fact that I've done way more, put way more time in to this company. I've put way more blood, sweat, and tears and PEDs into this company than Conor ever did, And I hope you caught that. That's for you guys to think that he doesn't deserve anything because of his PED use. But you can't put Conor in the conversation as the greatest of all time. Now, one of the greatest entertainers that the UFC has ever seen absolutely has to be Conor. You got to give him that. But as far as one of the greatest fighters, he got lucky in the sense that he came in at the right time, said the right things, predicted the right things, and the things that he did predict happened to come true and align. All of the stars aligned for Conor. His personality, the right fight at the right time, Jose Aldo going in there with his brain scattered in a million different directions and being upset with Conor and this and that, knocked him out 13 seconds. I mean, just could not have happened any cleaner, any better for Conor to become this massive superstar, right? Jon Jones has never had that sort of impact. Okay? Now, you got to be caught somewhere in between. He's so good and he's done so much that he should be able to just make his own decisions and write his own ticket. And then, but he's only had a couple of fights at heavyweight. And he's also popped hot for PEDs multiple times in his career. Now, how do you make the concession between those two? How do you consolidate those two opposing things? All of the amazing things that he's done and done for the sport but he's only had 2 heavyweight fights and he's popped hot for PEDs multiple times. How do you consolidate those two? There has to be a way, and the UFC has to be able to put a number on that, right? All of the wonderful things that he's done for the sport starts edging you up to 10, 15, maybe possibly 20 million on a good day, right? But then you got these things over here, the PED use, and the fact that he beat up a Cyril Gane who can't grapple and a 42-year-old Stipe Miocic that was retired out of the octagon for 3 years and was basically just taking the fight for a payday. That's the 2 people he's beat at heavyweight. None of us should really be that impressed by that. Everything he did at light heavyweight, okay, great. That's good. That's great. We can't take away everything good that he's ever done. Okay, so where do we find the happy medium here with Jon? 30 million is just downright greedy, bro. Okay, but there truly has never been another fighter to take part in the UFC to do what he's done and to be as dominant as he's been over the longest period of time. No one else has done that. Jon Jones stands alone in that. There's Jon Jones, and then there's everybody else down here. And you can't deny that, you know? So where does it land? You know, I'm not giving his greedy ass $30 million when the highest he's ever made prior to this is 6.2. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. You know, think taking out Cyril Gahn and a retired Stipe Miocic is going to get you a $24 million pay jump? Nah, no, that to me, he's getting greedy now, right? Taking all things into consideration, you know, to meet somewhere in the middle, you know, the last of what you made is 6. I understand Tom is a dangerous opponent for you. You know, could be a potential downfall to your legacy and your first official loss and everything else. We can throw 3 million in there just for the risk that you're taking to your legacy and everything and your name. Okay, so that gets you up to 9 million. You know, I'll give you another 10 million just because you've gone and now captured a second belt, right? And you're looking to unify that belt with a guy who also has an interim heavyweight belt in that division, okay? But he is a much better opponent and much harder opposition for you than the guys that you fought so far, okay? So when you add it all together and itemize this thing, I mean, you can get to maybe 17, maybe 20 mil, something like that. 30 mil, you're just getting greedy, bro. You know, this isn't boxing, okay? And the sport of MMA and the company of the UFC is not set up as a going out of business sale like boxing is, where every fight is the store's closing and is trying to make as much money as possible. You know, it's not set up that way. So yeah, I mean that's what I think about that. Let me know what you guys think. Is 30 million, is that he's off his rocker, bro? Become clear that it's all about the money for Jon. Okay? Now, that's fine. You've had a storied career. Aside from the PEDs, I'll still give you credit for the fact that you are absolutely one of the greatest ever. You know, I do. There's people out there that won't, but I do. But 30 mil, bro, when the highest you ever made before was 6? Nah, we can't get there. We can't get there. You know, I don't think that your career, because of these asterisks, the PED use, you know, the coming up and fighting 2 guys at heavyweight that you obviously have a huge advantage over both. You know, you're not wooing me with that, right? But I will say, did you hear some of the other stuff that Joe said? Did you hear what he said about Alex Pereira?
Would he blow out Pereira, you think, where it's not even a worthwhile?
The problem is the ground. Jon's so much better on the ground, like worlds better, you know, and it takes so long to get really good on the ground. And we've seen Pereira get in trouble with guys on the ground that are nowhere near Jon's level. Nowhere near. Jon dominates everybody. He took down Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is an Olympic wrestler. I mean, he's a fucking phenomenal wrestler. And Jon took him down. And took him down multiple times. It's a different dude, man.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, like with genetics, right? There's some guys, they're just blessed. And then with Jon, it's blessed and his mind.
I've been singing that tune ever since Jon Jones started saying he wanted Alex Pereira. Of course he wants Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira's got a huge name. He's supposedly this dangerous killer guy. But the experience level of their grappling is like, I'd have to touch the floor with my hand. You know, Alex Pereira's nowhere near the grappling experience and of the grappling level that Jon Jones is. Jon Jones would mop the floor with Alex Pereira in an octagon. So it's almost silly that he was throwing that out there. And I think, too, that Dana White and crew, I don't know who's told him, but somebody has sat Jon down and said, oh, Jon, come on, bro. You know, these fans these days know better than that shit. It's a slap in the face to UFC fans. You know, that's treating UFC fans like they don't know their asses from a hole in the ground. Nah, bro. These people now, these fans who are watching this sport, if people know what we're seeing now. We're starting to learn more about the techniques. We're starting to learn more about, you know, which fighter is stronger at what and how that stacks up against fighters who have different strengths in different areas and how they align once they meet in the octagon. You know, there's never been a time in UFC history that the fan has been more knowledgeable and aware of the sport than right now. Never. So people are looking at that and like, come on, bro. Alex Pereira, we see what you're doing. Trying to take all of that shine off of his name and rub it on your bald head, but it's not really. Because everybody knows that Alex Pereira couldn't even grapple with Jan Blachowicz at light heavyweight. What makes you think he's going to be able to grapple with Jon Jones at heavyweight? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You're going to slap me in the face as a fan. You're not going to choke me out either like you be doing those other fans. I see you choking out fans out there. Quit choking out fans, bro. You're going to end up killing someone and end up having a freaking lawsuit against you. Anyway, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel if you would like the video and comment down below. See you on the next one.